girls. Today we're going to talk about reading music. Music is an international language. If I go to China, I certainly cannot read Chinese, but if I go to the symphony, I can read the music. If I go to India, I can't read the Indian languages, but I can read the music. The same is true for Africa or Russia or France or any of those other places. Music is an international language, and we are learning to read music. When we learn to read English, we start with the alphabet. And you probably learn one letter at a time, and gradually you could read short words. Well, we're going to learn to read the notes one at a time. And when we read music, we call that theory. Theory is the symbols that represent the sounds, and we read from left to right just like we do in reading a book. For each belt, and there will be 9 belts this year, you'll have some theory to learn. Most of the time that will include new notes, not every time, but most of the time, as well as some other symbols that help you to know music. Now, for the very first belt, you need to know some symbols. The first one is the staff. The staff is 5 lines and 4 spaces. We write music on there. The next is the treble clef. The treble clef is also called the G clef. It curls around the G line. It used to look kind of like a G, a fancy G, but today it's just a treble clef. There are 3 notes that we learn. B. B is on the 1, 2, 3, third line up. We always read from the bottom, and there are 5 lines. So it's 1, 2, 3. Third line up is B. The next note we learn is A. It's in the second space. There are 4 spaces between the 5 lines. It's in the second space. That one is A. And this one is G. It's on the G line. See how that G or treble clef wraps around right around that same line? This one is the G. Now then, here's the cool thing. I will always give you the fingering. This represents the finger holes on the recorder. For this B, you need to cover your thumb hole and the first hole, and that is the B. It sounds like this. See how it's the thumb hole and finger number 1? The A is the thumb and 2 fingers. And the G is the thumb and 3 fingers. So now you know what the theory is for all of white belt: staff, treble clef, B, and the fingering for B, A and the fingering for A, G and the fingering for G. So it's really only 5 things. It can be 8 if you consider this to be extra. That's pretty cool. Now then, when we start practicing, sometimes we need to say the notes first, and we'll want to practice in rest position. Put the instrument on your chin and finger it. And if we had B, A, G, G, we would say B, A, G, G. That way our fingers are covering the correct holes, and we're looking at the B, A, and G, G on the page. It's really important to look at what it is at the same time. Pretty easy, right? No big deal. See you in class.